Hey, how's it going, folks? We're broadcasting. Secret location. Ever heard of it? I'm so excited for this new setup we got. I got a producer now so that I don't need to do all the work myself. This is Dave. Fun fact about him, Dave recently offered to moderate a 4-hour debate between the presidential candidates. Is that true?
I can neither confirm nor deny this. So.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing him on CNBC or one of those channels you guys never heard of. You know, maybe the channel where the guy screams about the stock market when he's like, what are we doing? Invest in gold. Really playing with the big leagues here. Really playing with the big leagues. We got video now. Video now optional for you video-centric viewers. We're still doing the audio. We're killing it all over the place. And I'm going to start using YouTube. Anyone who's a loyal fan of the show knows that I'm not a fan of YouTube because of its overly curated content. My episode covering the subject has been listened to by people in the nation of Iraq. Person, actually. Last I checked, we have one download in the Iraq. Specifically a city that I've never heard of. It's not Baghdad, and that's really the only one I know. I don't know about you guys. My hands smell great. I just washed them. Everyone, remember when we were all washing our hands like 13 times a day, and now it's just like, the normal times? I remember that. That was fun. That was fun. I liked spending like over an hour of the day washing my hands. That was that quarantine spirit where we all thought that we were like going to work in World War II. And then, everything just went on its side pretty fast. I remember like 2 weeks in, it was like socially acceptable to go on social media and be open about how horny you were, even though it had only been about 2 weeks. And, many of the people claiming that they had been horny after 2 weeks probably were not regularly having sex before the quarantine. I mean, and now we got this whole new wave of people. People are still going on, the Twitter, Facebook, whatever, saying like, oh, when this is over, I'm going to have so much sex. But like, they're secretly having sex. They just don't want to be shamed by the crowd for because it's dirty. I wonder if there's anyone out there having sex with masks on. Please call into the show. If you've had sex with a mask on, not like as a pre-existing kink, but out of fear of COVID, please call into the show, DM me on Instagram, draw me a picture, or take a video of yourself having sex with the mask on and mail it, and we'll play it live on the air. Or maybe we won't. I don't know what we're allowed to do necessarily, but we'll get we'll put a bar where there needs to be bars.
And if necessary, we'll use sock puppets.
We'll use sock puppets. Exactly. We'll do real red hot chili pepper up in this business. People are going crazy, though. Hope it ends soon. It's getting colder, which means that, as a comedian, there's less and less opportunities to perform outdoors, which I myself only did about 2 or 3 times. There's a fantastic power struggle going on now in the Boston comedy community where anyone who happens to have connections with like an outdoor brewery or someplace with a venue now sort of holds power that predictably has gone to their heads. A lot of people being outspoken because they can do non-paying free gigs in various outdoor venues. Not going to name any names. That seems to be the situation here. I don't know. Could be bad. Could be bad. And meanwhile, you got people going into Target. Did you see this video of this guy? He was in Target, and it was like a group of people, but this one guy was leading the chant, and he was like, take that mask off. Take that. Like, he didn't do it like it was like this, like, the deep state is lying to you. Like, he did it like, do you remember Miss Reardon's dancing lessons in middle school?
Oh, yes,
yeah,
I do.
she'd get on we had to learn to do, like, the cha-cha slide and the hustle, the electric slide, not the cha-cha slide, and the hustle. And one of those other dances, and our big lesbian gym teacher would just be like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, girls, you can shimmy, boys, rock your heads. That's the energy of this guy. He was going around Target just going like, you take your mask off. Now they're lying to us about the COVID. What China did it? Just kidding. Not real. Take the mask off, yo. That's not like, I mean, what I did was more entertaining than what he did, but he definitely had a flamboyant, like, theatrical, take that mask off energy. Someone should give that guy a TV show and be mad at him. I don't know, just some guy who was going around Target yelling about how people should take their masks off. He was with a woman. She was a little bit more passionate about it. She was like, take it off! Like it was going to kill you to wear one. And he was like not taking it seriously. He was kind of like rolling around like, take off the mask. Woo-hoo. Take it off. Hoo-hoo. I tell you, I think it was the Jews that made up the rumor that you needed to wear a mask. Yeah. That's what he sounded like. I just imagine. Guys, this podcast is not reverent. It's irreverent. Which leads me into our first sponsor. The Church of Satan. I'm just kidding. We didn't get a sponsorship with them. I think that they're a little bit much, honestly. Everyone's like, did you know that the Church of Satan is the nicest people you'll ever meet? I was like, come on, you guys are like bad provocateurs. You go in there and there's like a shitload of rules. And, they have rituals and stuff. It's very lame. Very lame. I don't think... Yeah, it's fun to yell Hail Satan, especially on Halloween. Like, I had a fantastic time in Salem this past Halloween where there were some, like, Christian canvasser people, and they were mad about Halloween. They were like, you need to repent because God is going to, whatever they say about God and whatnot. It's just, God is going to come put you in hellfire. They just want attention. Obviously, that's not the only reason they're doing that. They're not very passionate in real. They just love to sit in judgment of others. But I went up to their little demonstration, and I just gave them a big, Hail Satan! And then, hilariously enough, I yelled it loud enough where a bunch of other people started chanting it, and we had this wonderful little Hail Satan chant against these militants. I think they were an offshoot of, like, the Mormon church. Something that on their paper said Latter-day Saints. They didn't seem like official Mormons. That kind of in-your-face, loud, that's not really the Mormon style. These guys seem to be like hicks. I think of a Mormon as a guy in a nice suit who's going to, like, trick you into joining a cult instead of just, like, screaming about it in your face just to feel good about himself. I don't know. Did you ever... People always say, like, I don't judge people. They say it, like, with the tone of someone who's bragging. I think if you don't judge... Like, that's evolutionarily probably a weak thing. Like, if you don't judge someone a little bit when they, like, tell you, like... Because there's people who, like, I have 3 pets, I have 2 cats, and 1 rat. And then you're like, oh, I don't judge. And then that person, like, stabs you and robs you because you trusted them like an idiot. Like, they just told you with a straight face that they had a pet rat. And you're like, well, I'm not going to judge that person. Like, maybe they can be a babysitter. You're not. You should judge anyone. I honestly judge anyone who has gauges. I'm like, you don't. And that's the reason they got gauges. They wanted to stand out. Part of the reason people get gauges is they want to appear offensive to people, and that gives them some sort of, like, provocateur energy. Like, I know a guy who will be, like, a VP or a CEO or something, but he'll get, like, 2 full sleeves tattooed so that he can walk around like, yeah, what's up? You can be successful in business and have tattoos. Or that NASA guy who has, like, blue hair, and he's like, yeah, what's up? You can be successful for NASA and work for the government and have blue hair. He's like, my appearance doesn't define me. I was like, but if your appearance didn't define you, then you wouldn't go out of your way to get an appearance that you think is antithetical to the kind of role you're in. Like, you're still trying to prove a point. In many ways, your appearance does design you. I mean, most people, I don't even know that guy's name. I just know him as the NASA guy with blue hair. So, ipso facto, his appearance does define him in that regard. I don't know this guy's name. I know him by his hair color and by the fact that he happens to, have a occupation that is contradictory to his fashion choices. And that's, so yeah, his appearance does define. You know who else appearance defines them? People with the septum piercing. Now, that's the worst. You see that? It looks like they have a runny nose and they're, like, constantly kind of just dribbling out of their nose a little bit. It's truly disgusting. I don't know why. It's also, like, a thing that cows get so they can be, like, lugged into the slaughter. So, I don't know. What are you trying to tell me with your septum piercing? That you're submissive? I've never had anyone be submissive to me in my entire life. So, you're barking to the wrong choir. But, you didn't get it for me. You got it for you. And that's good for you because you should be free to express yourself. But I will judge you if you have one of those because they look awful. It's really not even a like, I think that you might rob me thing, like the rat guy. I mean, I kind of still do. Like, let's be honest, you're kind of groveling with the bottom of the barrel if you have one of those septum piercings. But it's for you. It's for you. I guess you want, it's symbolic because, maybe you didn't know your father and and therefore you want some kind of big farmer who's like a father figure to drag you to the barn. And I'm off on a weird thread here, but I just can't fathom why someone would want to put a gross piece of metal that looks like a person with a running nose in their mouth. Whatever, you can write in the comments. Just cancel me on Instagram. Say, this boring guy, he doesn't even have any piercings or tattoos. I'll have you know, I have tattoos on my cleavage of roses. And I'm an excellent mother. I'm an excellent mother. I've been an excellent mother since I was 19 years old. And I recently got married, and now my baby and I have the same last name. That's what you do when you're an excellent mother. I have gauges. My baby likes to play with them. He likes to put his hand between my ears. My baby likes the gauges because babies aren't taught to judge people with weird body mutilating objects affixed to them. You think just because I have a face tattoo that says the N-word I can't teach preschool? This is a fucked up, arcane, puritanical society. My best friend was black growing up. He told me it was okay to get it. And I'm sick of explaining this to every single person. I know I put it on my face voluntarily and everyone has to see it. There's people, they get like a tattoo, not necessarily on their face, but they're going to, and they're like, it is a special meaning to me. And I can't tell you what it means. It's a special meaning to me only. It's like, okay, well, yeah, that's great. You got it in an exposed place just so that you could be self-righteous to other people. That's why they don't actually get it because they care about the special meaning it has to them. They care about getting it so that people will ask them what it means and then they can act like they're annoyed. You know, you got it to be self-righteous. Oh my God, don't even ask me about this grotesque thing that I voluntarily put on an exposed part of my body. Don't even ask me. Look, I get it. It's rude to ask someone if they have like a big boil or a cyst or something because that's not in their control. But you get a tattoo that's like, I am the animal mother. And then like a picture of like a goat having sex with a woman. And then you're like, what is that all about? It's vulgar. And you're like, I'm going to teach these kids. Do you know how hard it is being a teacher? I got to buy my own pencils. And I don't need you asking me about my tattoo with animals having sex with humans. It's personal to me. How do you know I wasn't molested by a coach? And you're going to ask me about my tattoo? It's personal to me. It's really, honestly, I can't believe you'd say that. Please let me get back to handing out one of these math assignments where they solve enough problems and then it spells out a word that's the answer to a riddle. I remember one of those things we had growing up. My teacher at Roosevelt, and you were at the Roosevelt Elementary School. Were you there the whole time, or are you one of those people who came over halfway?
So I came there from third grade onwards.
Oh, so you're in third grade. Okay.
Because they just built it.
So a third grade teacher that we had was pregnant, which as an adult you learn is not an accomplishment. It's actually a point of great shame. Back then you thought it was a thing that was, very, like she had to, because I'm pretty sure half the kids in the class probably thought they had to like write a letter to God or something. I think that's how pregnancy was explained to me earlier. I never got the stork. I got that like a married couple prays real hard and God, creates the beginning of the fetus inside the woman. And that was the skinny I had. And then one time I like caught my mom when she was like under caffeinated or something, driving me to swim practice. And I was like, how come sometimes God puts a baby in a woman who's not married? And then she's like, that's not really how it works. The man puts his penis in the woman's vagina. So, that was probably like 9 at that point. So I knew that Miss what's her name was getting cream pied. I won't say her name because, she probably has a lot of kids and wants to keep a low profile. But anyway, she made her own math problem, and the once you saw, and it was one of those things that it took forever when you're in 4th grade because it was like 4-digit number by 4-digit number. And it was never like 1,000 times something. It was always like 3,946 times 5,827. And there was like 12 of those, and you had to do them by hand. It took forever. And then at the very, very end, it's just spelled out like, I'm going to have another baby. And it took extra long because there was like the word another was like thrown in there. I remember my mom was very upset that she included that in the schoolwork. No, she said there's going to be another bundle. There was a long fucking thing. It said there's going to be another bundle of joy at the insert name here household. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what bundle of joy meant. I didn't know that meant, that she had a little bit too much wine and didn't wrap it. Hope her husband made good money, because teachers, what do they make? Like $2,000 a year? That ain't great pay at all.
Every teacher I ever knew was a bartender on the side, so I imagine not that great.
I think we had one teacher in middle school that worked at like Sbarro or something.
Trying to think.
It should be embarrassing. These kids look up to you and then see you in the Sbarro uniform. It might not have been Sbarro. It was some sub shop. It was some. I mean, maybe you didn't have her. We had different teachers in middle school. We don't know. No one knows. Nobody knows. Slightly stupid. I'm not slightly stupid. I'm all the way stupid. But I am ahead of the curve. And, I haven't had health insurance in several months, but thankfully I've been able to kind of keep myself safe. There's a lot of anxiety that involves not having health insurance, so I've just been like smoking, to calm the anxiety. Sometimes doing psychedelics so that I can expand my mind, so that I'm more mentally equipped to deal with not having health insurance. I've been sometimes just doing these drugs and then climbing mountains, and some people say that's not that smart. You could fall, you could get dehydrated, but you need to climb a mountain to get the negative radicals out of your system. Another thing I've been doing without health insurance is practicing with swords, because I just think that the sword war is coming soon. The government's going to take all of our guns, and I've nicked myself a few times, almost got infected, obviously can't get antibiotics. But I don't know. I mean, do you own any swords?
I used to collect them, but they've since been stolen and sold somewhere, because the thing about swords is they're worth a lot of money nowadays.
I must have, maybe I bought one of your swords that was stolen.
Probably.
I got it at the, it was a back alley. It was a guy named, Komodo Joe, and I'm just kidding. Komodo Joe is a character from, Crash Bandicoot. Boy, that's classic. I've been playing The Last of Us, and I had to stop because I just got to a point where it's too fucking spooky, and now I'm kind of afraid to progress forward. Do you play that?
I've yet to play any of them.
So I'm playing the second one, and it's normally like you're in a room where there's a bunch of zombies and stuff, and if you can sneak up on them. But now there's ones that sneak up on you in the second one, and I'm just not. So you'll just be like trying to progress, and then all of a sudden, it is cumbersome. It is cumbersome. Great design, great game, but just too much anxiety, especially since the theme of the game is that there was a big global pandemic that destroyed society many years ago, and now people are just kind of squabbling around. Do you think COVID will make people zombies? Version, maybe not V1, because COVID, as we all know, was created in a lab.
I'm the type of person that thinks people were zombies before COVID.
Oh, okay. Now we're automatons who wear the masks.
Yep.
I can't put the mask on with the
You're just a slave to the machine.
All these people share this meme I see. I mean, they're probably mostly bots. The problem with Twitter is that many of the people there are not existent. I have a troll account on Twitter that's called CNN Soccer Mom, where I just pretend to be like some privileged suburban white mom who only votes Democrat because she wants things to go back to normal. I've had some gems. I've said Happy Suicide Awareness Month, except to Trump. He should kill himself.
Did she have a sister named Karen?
No, well, her name might be Karen. Her first name is never revealed on the page. But the funny thing is that people who also are clearly not real will argue with my not real account. And it's I make it pretty obvious that it's a troll account satirizing a certain thing, but people will still engage with it anyway. So I can't tell if they're stupid or if they're just so far gone that they're engaging with this almost virtual reality. The thing is, sometimes I'll say something that's so outlandish and a bunch of lefty people will retweet it. Like I said the other day, there's something called the Virtual March on Washington. And I said, I never marched for a cause in my entire life. But when I found out I could do the Virtual March on Washington in my pajamas with a glass of wine, I signed up immediately. And all these people were retweeting it like it was an unironic thing. I'm like, no, this is clearly a joke meant to show this kind of person's hypocrisy. I don't know. And then another gem, I said watching Hamilton, were the founding fathers actually this loud? Those are the questions that kind of demographic would face. Kamala Harris puts people in jail, so Donald Trump better watch out. It's like people are very unironically I see on the left embracing this yeah, Kamala Harris puts people in jail. That's how we're going to get Trump in jail. Like Trump is, not a impoverished guy selling marijuana to feed his family. So I'm not sure if there's necessarily a one-to-one correlation there, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to these debates. I think that they will be the funniest content in the past 4 years. Obviously, the original debates, Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, they were hilarious. They didn't give you a good feeling when you watch them about, I think the country's in good hands. I got a very not that feeling at all. I was like, and that was, when we were watching those, it was a little bit easier to laugh, I guess, because I didn't personally believe that there was any chance Trump would actually win, as most people didn't. So it was funny to hear him say ridiculous stuff. And then he actually won, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess a lot of people connected with that absolutely absurd nonsense. It's not very coherent. But now we have round two, where we have a man who's just truly insane, and then a man who has dementia, and they're going to go head to head. And I assume they're just going to be talking over. There's probably going to be one question, and then they're just going to talk over each other for 2 hours. And then it's Saturday Night Live that following Saturday. Saturday Night Live is going to do this horrible sketch where they just repeat the exact same things that they said and add these weak tags. Jim Carrey's going to be Joe Biden, and he's going to be this no dementia version of Joe Biden because they feel bad about what happened the last time. If you watch SNL and get enjoyment out of it instead of just watching the actual content, then you are a fraud. We don't need to sanitize it. It's going to be pure comedic content, I think. The funniest thing, and this is coming from a comedian. No comedian could be as funny. They've tried. That's the entire Colbert Show, is just Trump says something outlandish, which is hilarious on its own, and concerning, obviously, but hilarious. And then Colbert just repeats the thing he said and adds some weak joke. And he does his impression of Trump is not good at all. Have you heard him do it? He's like, this is his impression of Trump. He's like, I'm Donald Trump. Sad. He's way off the mark. Not good at all. Not good at all. What else is going on in there? Drinking Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I got the almond milk now in the coffee because the cream makes me bloated.
Oh, looks like we got sponsorship now.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Dunkin' Donuts necessarily wants to endorse many of the things I've said. If Dunkin' Donuts had to denounce people with gauges, they would have to lay off a majority of their frontline essential workers. And coffee shops in general, if you come after the septum piercing and the gauges and the tattoos, then you're going to be running out of coffee pretty soon. Especially if you go, a lot of great coffee comes from Africa, and, where people have I don't know. I see pictures of that happening in Africa. The coffee comes from Africa. You got to think at least one of those villages is the one with the in the bottom lip for those listening in the audio. I don't know. Do people actually do that? They must have. I don't know if they still do, but that must have been a real thing. I'm not sure how you speak.
Or how about the extended necks?
Are they just the clicking? Yeah, the extended neck people. Well, that's a little bit different because, then it just makes your neck longer. I feel like if you have the big thing in your lip, then you're not going to be able to talk. Do they do only clicks? Because I know they have some click languages there. They have the Iris Loha or whatever from Black Panther. That scene in the Black Panther with the rhinos wasn't as stupid as everyone thought it was. It was fun. First, the movie's for children, so it's a little bit much when you're an adult and you're like, oh, I thought the rhinos thing was too campy and they only did it to sell toys. Well, yeah, they probably only did it to sell toys. It's the children that go out and buy your child. The problem is people who are 25 to 35 with no kids complaining that a kids movie has a rhino attack playset. Get a life.
Reminds me a few years ago when the first Thor movie came out, people said it was too childish. And really, the movie about a superhero's magic hammer is made for children. Surprise.
My gripe with the first Thor was that, like, there's a really cool scene where he goes into Jotunheim and fights all the people, and then there's, like, no action for over an hour. Because then he just becomes normal Thor. And there's, like, one scene where he just, like, fights people hand to hand. That's kind of cool. But, like, he doesn't become Thor until, like, the end. And then as soon as he becomes Thor, he just, like, beats the bad guys real quick. He has, like, a short fight with Loki. And then that's just that. Whereas second Thor was not as good as the third Thor, but at least in the second Thor, he's Thor the entire time, so you get to see him do cool fights the whole movie. I like the second Thor, but I mean, you can't really beat the third one. Third one was a masterpiece. They just said, like, this dreary, fake Shakespeare direction's not working, so we're going to do a wild, Buck Rogers style. You know what I watched the other night that was really enjoyable was Starship Troopers.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd never seen it. It was actually Mike Goodbread was the one who recommended it to me.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah, it was fine. Well, because I knew that it had like this controversial background where some people thought it was this high satire and other people just thought it was like a very dumb action movie. But like it felt pretty obvious to me that it was supposed to be like a campy satire. It had like that, but it almost had like a Saturday morning cartoon feel to it, plus extremely grotesque violence. And the effects don't age that well, but it was 1997. I thought it was funny. They should make more movies like that are like kind of like comedies with a very high budget. Because they don't really there's not been like a good like Bill and Ted. I mean, there was a new Bill and Ted, but there's not been like an original Bill and Ted-esque thing in a long time. No Back to the Future type deals. When was the last like good sci-fi? Well, Hot Tub Time Machine, but I'm not even sure if you count that. Hot Tub Time Machine 2, pretty fucking bad. I remember tuning it out. They couldn't get Cusack to come back. Sign. John Cusack, he shouldn't be a hard get, guys. You really fucked that one up. Oh, and I watched the dumb Jay and Silent Bob movie last night.
Oh, the new one? The
new one, yeah. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was good. What can we do, folks? What can we do but go on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever channel it was on and watch silly movies? The other night, I was stoned, and I watched the entirety of High Score, the golden age of video game documentary. It was like 5 hours.
I only saw the last episode with John Romero.
Is that the creator of Doom?
Yep.
That was a good one. I think the episodes got better as it went on. Because the one that was about like Mortal Kombat was entertaining because it had to do with like the controversies surrounding that. And, the Doom one was interesting just because that's kind of like when the modern day
shooter
idea of a video game came together.
It's funny. I read the book Masters of Doom not too long ago about the early days. More detail, but
I'm not sure if I ever actually played the game Doom.
It's you shoot demons in the face.
I know what it is. I've seen footage of it many times. But yeah, like we had like a shitty gateway computer, and I'm sure if my parents, I had Duke Nukem for the PlayStation, but my mom, it was like my dad had a PlayStation 2 and I had my dad's boss had a PlayStation 2 and I had a PlayStation. So every now and then I get the hand-me-down game, and Duke Nukem just slipped through the cracks, and I was playing it, and my mom realized it was rated M. Which rated M on like PlayStation 1 is really not that bad. It's like gore that is indiscernible, and yeah, but nothing compared to an M-rated game in 2020 like Last of Us 2. But yeah, she put the kibosh on that. No shooters for me. No GTA. Me and my sister tried to trick her into getting us GTA once. Didn't work. Probably for the best because I was 8, and I didn't know what a prostitute was. Yeah, really all I got growing up was that I would just stay up late and watch Adult Swim. I was a sheltered kid.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force forever.
Yeah, well, I mean, that show is fantastic. I'm trying to remember. Hard for me to remember what my favorite episode was. Also, I always watched them like late at night, so they just kind of like blurred together. Then the Girls Gone Wild ads would come on. That's when you saw some real sparks fly. I had no idea that kind of content existed.
Or they could show it on advertisement TV.
Well, they censored it, but they did like some of the censorships were only like nipple sized. So it was very little to the imagination. And then once you got on the internet, you could find out that they were like, all mirrored The full videos were like mirrored on random sites, so you could dig into the Girls Gone Wild. The guy who founded Girls Gone Wild, kind of a dope. He has like a bunch of legal action against him.
I was about to say, didn't he get like arrested a few years back?
I think he did a bunch of stuff. I think there was one girl who she was 17 and they tried to sue him for it, but then he ended up being like a non-issue because it was in Florida and the age of consent was 17. Just doesn't really make any sense. And then, I don't know what else he did. Probably some horrible stuff. I mean, all of the girls who were in the videos were shit-faced, and I guess they would film them giving consent to being filmed, but they were way too drunk for that to actually count. So I think he got in trouble for that, and, because it was 2006, that was just not against the law at the time, apparently. I don't think he'd be able to get away with it now. But, if you ask anyone, he was an honest, hardworking American who, just wanted to make the world a better place, and he was sex positive. You can spin it any way you want. He was not a good guy, but I'm just saying, if I was his lawyer, I would definitely try to win over leftists by saying that he was sex positive. LGBTQ friendly, sex positive, Girls Gone Wild guy. You know what? He probably wouldn't have gotten in trouble if he called it Women Gone Wild, because women are adults. That's probably where he ran into some issues. Branding, Joe Francis. You fucked up. And I'm not going to bail you out of this one. Don't come to my door asking me for help because you got caught driving around in a tour bus and really not hiding what you were doing at all. My friend said he saw the tour bus once. That would be quite a sight to behold. Apparently, so they would double dip because they would get like $20,000 to film an event at a club. And then they would then make money off the thing they filmed. So they didn't even have to pay to go places. They got paid to go places. Those crazy bastards. Girls Gone Wild. Okay, let's see. Hitler Youth is trending. President Trump proposed nationwide commission to promote patriotic education. Draws comparisons to Nazi Party's Hitler Youth. Seems like a foursome. I'm not going to. Constitution. That seems too confusing. All right, well, nothing cool is trending. I kind of thought I'd pull up some fun. Trump Youth, that's the same thing we saw before. 911 is coming. Oh, Lady Gaga. Well, I can't think of something that I'm less interested in. Women counter recurring assessment that only men love Steely Dan. I'll have you know my mom loves Steely Dan. So speaking on her behalf, I think I got to debunk this theory. You like Steely Dan?
I haven't heard of her.
Steely Dan is a man.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I can't really name any of his songs, but I know that he is played on the Cape Cod playlist when we're down the Cape. I know, make people hate me. My parents do have a house down the Cape. Here's how you can tell I'm not too privileged, though. Obviously, I got a certain degree of privilege. I never refer to it as like our house or my family's house. I always refer to it as my parents' house. So the concept of ownership is not, I'm not entitled to feel that it is my house. Because a lot of people who never did anything in their lives will be like, we have a house in the Hampton, some shit like that. Also, my dad lives there, and it's a small cottage, so it's really not as glamorous as it sounds. Boy, do I love me some beaching. It's the fall. Everything's getting dark. People are going inside. What little outdoor comedy shows we have will be outlawed. This studio will be kept alive by the warmth of this great program that we've created here for you today. What are we doing for time?
We're at 35 minutes right now.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy. This is what happens when you try to record 2 in 1 week. Am I telling you right? You know what I miss? Roller coasters. Some nice, exciting roller coasters. I should build one in my backyard. I don't have a backyard. I should build one through my neighborhood. My neighbors complain, I'll say, sue me, and they won't. I'll call them on the bluff. I would just love to be one of those, like, Idaho dads who just, like, builds a roller coaster in his backyard and then lets his children ride on it because he's, like, fairly certain it's safe. That is the lifestyle. You should go on YouTube. There's people who have roller coasters in the backyard. Some of them contain loops, which quite honestly is a little bit of a force. Don't really think you want a looping roller coaster in your back. It like goes up on top of the barn and comes down. And then they're like charging their neighbors $5, and then their homeowner's insurance company probably has pulled out on their property a while ago because they've just fucking gone off the reservation. They're like, dude, we don't even allow diving boards. You can't have a roller coaster in your backyard that goes off your shed. Yeah, Six Flags, kind of like a knockoff Disney, but better if you're an adult, you know? So I imagine if you're a little kid and you go to Six Flags, it's probably going to suck because all the rides are way too big. I went to this one in California, Six Flags Magic Mountain. Every single ride was like greater than 200 feet tall. It was fantastic, and I truly loved it. It gave me a headache, but it was a good headache. It was a positive headache, you know. I mean, I don't know what more we can say, folks. We covered all the major news stories.
Thankfully for 2020, this is a slow news week. It'll pick up back again in 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, those cunts lit the woods on fire because they wanted their baby to be shown, but I think I already talked about that previously. My baby. Imagine being like, I need all my friends to follow me to the woods, and I'm going to set off a bomb because it's my day. I'm pregnant. I wonder how old they were. That seems like a 30s thing.
What are you referring to?
The couple that set off the explosive that started the California wildfire.
Oh, we found out who did it.
Did they reveal it? Because I was looking the other day, and they didn't say who it was. Have they now revealed who they were?
This is news to me.
No, probably not, because I think so many people had their like businesses and homes destroyed that they'd probably get killed immediately if they said who they were. But I believe they will be prosecuted. They might even be liable for like tens of millions of dollars of damage, which obviously they won't be able to pay, so they'll go to jail. But you know, they don't seem like kind of people you'd want to be friends with. Because imagine, like, I say, like you're on Facebook, because I'm going to assume they're in 30s and they use Facebook events for their invites. You get invited to a Facebook event, which is like Katie's gender reveal party in Joshua Tree National Park. And it's like, all right, guys, we're bringing potato salad and some cake, and we're going to set off a pipe bomb that may or may not contain blue or pink confetti. And nothing, you all have to be there because I'll be there for you. I am pregnant. You know, like most women, when they're pregnant, they demand like watermelon or some shit. And this woman's like, I want to see the forest burn. I want to see it burn badly.
The whole state celebrating the reveal.
Yeah, and then this stupid best friend is like, oh my God, your boobs have gotten so big. Okay, you look great pregnant. I wish I could pull off looking pregnant like that. No, just kidding. I'll be single forever. Okay, light off the bomb. Like, no, these people went into the woods and didn't think for a second to not light off a bomb. It's great. They're like, we deserve this. We deserve to, and I don't think anything bad's gonna happen. Lighting off a bomb. There's definitely a sign in the woods that says like, hey, no fireworks, no fires.
It's a dry season.
Yeah. And they were like, that's a bunch of a liberal bullshit. I'm not wearing a mask. This baby's gonna have a strong immune system. People are like, if you wear a mask, your immune system gets lowered. That's why then they say just shit that's completely. People in China have worse immune systems. They cannot provide a source on that. If you wear a mask, so my baby, I'm not going to die of COVID. My baby's not going to die of COVID. My baby's going to be born immune to COVID. And we never found out if it was a boy or a girl. The funny thing is a lot of people were sharing a picture of the bomb going off with like blue dust. But that picture was from an Arizona wildfire that was started 2 years ago by a similar gender reveal party. So I don't think there's actually a photo of this one. But boy, are those people in trouble. You're in trouble. And you're never going to get away with this. Nothing you can do. You're busted.
We know who you are.
I mean, maybe. I'm not going to do it. You didn't burn down my house. But, boy. I just imagine it being the kind of person who, you know, they already dragged their friend group through all this bullshit with, like, expensive bachelorette parties and a wedding and blah, blah, blah. And, like, that's not enough for them. And now they got to fucking have these outlandish events just because, you know, they didn't wear a condom. That's really all they did. And now they're dragging in, you know, maybe it was the guy. Maybe it was the guy who was like, hey, you're going to do a gender reveal party? I don't want to do piñata. That's gay. Let's do a bomb. You get your girly gender reveal, and me and the boys can drink beers and watch an explosion. I don't care. I don't care if the cucks in California say you're not supposed to start shit on fire. This is what we do. This is what men do. Hoo, 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 hoo. It's a boy. It'd actually be funny if it was a girl, in a sense. Just be funnier, just because it's like, we set off an explosion to celebrate it being a girl. That's just not, I mean, I guess a girl would be more like a cake. Even a piñata, though, kind of violent. Like, that's how we're going to reveal our child's gender, is we're just going to beat a fake donkey. This is part of our custom. Also, I never heard of a gender reveal party until like 3 or 4 years ago. Is it a new thing, or is it just like a thing that people I know don't do because it's only done by horrible people? I don't know.
Yeah, my brother had one.
Your brother had one
Yeah,
for his own child, or when he was being born?
for his own child.
Okay.
They just did a cake, though, which sounds like a much, much safer option.
I mean, yeah, hopefully not an exploding cake like on SpongeBob. If you're SpongeBob SquarePants, you'll have a cake. How old is your brother?
He's 32.
Oh, okay. He's a little bit older. And then they how many people were at this gender reveal?
Well, they were having a wedding, and then they turned into a gender reveal because they were getting married. Well, his wife was pregnant at the time.
Oh, so they did the cut the cake at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's good. He didn't make people leave their houses to do two separate events, like, you know, this couple in California did. They are a drag. I'm so glad I don't have like friends that are close enough to like make me do stuff of that nature. Like, no one would be like, I have this power over him where if I invite him to something horrible. Like, my cousin, boy, does she invite us to some bad events. During COVID, she invited us to not one, but 2 car parades for members of her family's birthday. Where she lives over an hour away from Boston. And she wanted everyone in the family to form a car parade on her street and drive by, and then she would, with a mask, put goodie bags in the window. And then she did it once, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're adjusting to COVID. And then 2 weeks later, she did another one, and I was like, this has to stop. These parades are a lot. Like, you're going to make me drive an hour to not get out of my car? I didn't go to either also because I don't have a car, and I was busy for one of them. My sister went to one. She said that it was exactly what you'd expect, a car driving down the street in a progression of cars. Very funeral-ish noise.
Cue the Irish bagpipes.
Whatever. We were all afraid. We didn't know what COVID was. You know, we thought that if you went near your mom, you'd die. And I'm just glad that they finally understand what the kids want and got Paul Rudd to star in a video telling you to wear a mask. Because that's what people really want, is celebrities telling you what to do. No one has ever taken issue with that, and that is the popular opinion. It in no way hurt Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election, and just I want more celebrities telling me what to do. He was Ant-Man. He has more money than I'll ever have in my entire life. He should be the one telling me how to live my life, I think. I mean, think about his qualifications. 1, he was Ant-Man. 2, forgetting Sarah Marshall. 3, Anchorman 1 and 2, which obviously 2, not as good. I'm surprised he doesn't just run for Senate himself with those kind of qualifications. You're talking 2 Ant-Man solo movies, 2 ensemble movies, and 2 Anchormans, and you think that this guy can't tell you to wear a mask? He's an expert in wearing it. He's Ant-Man. Ant-Man's one of the superheroes with a mask that covers the correct part of his face. So if anyone has a seat at, if Robert Pattinson, who got COVID, came up here, then that would be different. And he didn't get COVID. He got COVID because Batman has the exposed thing on his mouth. Boy, is it hilarious, though, that they came back to shoot, and then, like, one day later. Dave, you ever get tested for COVID?
No, I've not. But thankfully, I was in no position to catch COVID. I
got tested last week, and I have not gotten the results yet. So let me check right now. I don't even know what to type, because if I type COVID, there's probably get like a million emails. They're like, in this time of COVID.
Forget gender reveal parties. We got COVID reveal parties.
We do need to have a COVID reveal. I suggested earlier we have a COVID dunking booth. So basically we put people in a dunking booth, classic, and we test them for COVID, and then if it comes up positive, they get dunked. And then it kind of like flushes them out of the building also. It's like a bottomless dunking booth. It's like, psh, so they get to go through a slide. They have fun. And they end up at a sewer outflow. They end up in Beverly somewhere. Not our problem. Go to Nick's Roast Beef. You're in Beverly. Live it up. Get them the hell out of there.
Get them out of here.
Yeah, no, I did. I was feeling short of breath one week, so I got a COVID test, but then I started feeling better. And then that was like 2 weeks ago, and I was supposed to get the result in like 2 days. And I never got it. Let's see if I ever got it. Let's see. COVID test, I type. I got a bunch of emails from backstage that are casting calls, and they all say COVID in them because they all have to say COVID safe. Yeah, we're going back to, I'm scrolling my emails way before I actually took the test, so I don't know. Maybe they're just throwing it away. Maybe I'll find out in like October that in like early September I didn't have COVID, and I'll be like, oh, thank God. I was at my grandmother's house. I was at the cat's piano lesson. I was at I went to an orgy. I sat in on a Klan meeting, not because I endorse what they do, but I just wanted to know thy enemy. I was
cleaning dust up. I was sneezing a lot.
I was at a meeting for the, I was at 3 Black Lives Matter rallies, and then I was at a meeting for the Democratic Socialists of America, and I scratched my head, and someone told me that was a symbol of white supremacy, so I was kicked out. It was their point of personal privilege was to kick me out. But, I get it, because I'm a white man, and I am the enemy of the state. And sometimes as a white man, you just gotta suffer. You just gotta suffer for the cause. I have many friends who are white men who have actually, castrated themselves as penance for being a white man, straight white man. Can't do it.
Time to take the gardening shears and just.
Yeah, you just. Because this is the straight white man's contribution to comedy is the classic, all-time classic. It's so classic that it's been done by hundreds of comics in the Boston area. It's called the I'm not even a little bit gay, but I would be for Tom Brady routine. And let me just do one of the many incarnations of this routine for you now. Hey, what's up? Who likes the Patriots, huh? Hey, I'm not gay. But you put Tom Brady's cock in front of me, I go. And that was the I'm not gay, but I would be for Tom Brady routine. It is award-winning. Everyone who's ever, it's up there with it's why can't you hit your kids anymore? My parents hit me and I turned out fine. That's number one. Can't knock that classic. But in New England, if you pull out the I'm not gay, but I would be for Tom Brady routine, you're selling out stadiums lickety-split. I'm drinking Dunkin' Donuts, so I would walk on the stage with the Dunkin' Donuts, and I'd be like, hey, I was in Dunkies the other day. I said, hey, can I get a regular? They said, you are regular. You're a straight white man, and we don't like you anymore. I say, hey, nothing harder than being a straight white man in these days. I'll tell you, I'm straight because I'm not gay. I will be for Tom Brady, though. That's me on Tom Brady. I say, move over, Giselle. I know how to do it. I'm a real Pass fan. I got him on my fantasy team, but the real fantasy is that I'm not gay, but I would be for Tom Brady.
They'd be like, 6 championships, yeah.
Yeah. They say, hey, I'll tell you, you lose your ring. I think I might know where it is. And I invite him to fish around in my anus, which I would not do with any other man. But I do it with Tom Brady because, as stated earlier, I'm not gay, but I would be for Tom Brady. And that's all she wrote. Aye. And then, maybe another joke, another classic joke about what would Jesus sound like if he had a Boston accent. That's a classic, It's always just like, what would blank sound like if they had a Boston accent? So, that's, you really can just, it's a real piecemeal. You could put anything in there. You could put a priest. You could put a coach. You could put your uncle. You could put a group that's not known to molest kids also. Those are just the first three I thought of. But, hey, well, Jesus, Boston accent, right? He'd be coming here and be like, hey, look, buddy, I'm dying for your fucking sins, dude. Best you can do is let me bum a Bud Light. Fuck, dude. I'm gonna turn this water into donkeys.
Forget turn water wine. I'll turn this water into Sam Adams.
Turn into Sam Adams beer is not good.
I'm gonna catch a lot of hate. It's a C in my book.
That's probably, I would say like C minus, personally. Just because there's so many, now, back when there was like Sam Adams and Harpoon, those were the only local breweries. It had a lot more clout, but now you have Night Shift and Aeronaut and used to have Slum Brew. They went out of business, RIP. Happens. Tough break. And then there's Cambridge Brewing is really good. There's Idle Hands in Malden. There's so many great breweries that you can just, you don't even need to go to the brewery. You can just get it at the liquor store near you. So it's like, that really makes Sam Adams. And did you ever have a Harpoon Duncan's Porter?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, me too. I remember I told my dad about it, and he said, this sounds awful. And I was like, well, it was, but weirdly not as bad as you'd assume. It was not good, though. I would not go out and buy it. My roommate bought some, and he let me have one. And I was like, oh, this is... Actually, my roommate bought some. I think he had 2 and then let me have the remaining 4 because I'm an alcoholic and will drink it no matter what. My biggest accomplishment, actually, over the past month has been that there's been a half-dranken bottle of Jameson in my liquor cabinet. It is the only object in my liquor cabinet, and I have not drank it, no matter the temptation. I have not just poured the bottle because I could definitely drink a half bottle of Jameson in a pretty short period of time. I pour 1 glass over ice, I drink it, and then once I get a little bit tipsy, I'm just like drinking it like juice.
Yeah, see, my biggest beer sin is that I like pumpkin spice. Whereas everyone else, they're like, no, you're just weird. It's awful. It's overused. I'm like, no, I like pumpkin spice.
Do you like the Shipyard one specifically?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I like it in the autumn just because it's seasonal. And then if you put, is it nutmeg? That's not nutmeg.
The cinnamon?
Cinnamon. You put something around the rim.
Yep.
You just put regular cinnamon sugar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you just put regular cinnamon. And then you pour it. Yeah, that's nice. It is inconsistent is a complaint I've heard of it, is that like they don't have a consistent quality between that one label. Then they have like a nicer one that's like comes in a 4-pack. I'm not sure about that one. I don't think you can get Shipyard anywhere else, though. I think that might just be a New England thing. Because there's Shock Top Pumpkin, and now I kind of want a Shipyard. It gives me flashbacks to being 18, 19 years old, sneaking a few. In the autumn, though. Because then I remember my parents would always have Shipyard, but they keep buying it, and then it would be like December, and then it'd be like, this just doesn't click right. It just doesn't feel right.
Oh, this is the Nightmare Before Christmas special Shipyard.
Yeah, no, I guess so. I mean, it does kind of look like Jack Skellington on the thing. That goofy character. Oh, I think more beer should have scary characters that are too scary for kids on the beer. And then Camel cigarettes have like a boring looking Camel, but then they briefly reinvented it as like this cool Camel with sunglasses. And I was like, okay, this is pretty transparent. I remember when I worked at Walgreens, a place I was fired from for stealing cigarettes. And I didn't even smoke. I just would steal them and then sell them to friends for $5. Then I got fired. But I remember they briefly rolled those out, and I said to a manager once, doesn't this look like they're trying to appeal cigarettes to kids? And then they're like, I'm not going to comment on the merchandising. I'm just here to do my job. And I'm like, that's why, I mean, that's such a miserable place. Walgreens. My good friend still works there. He's worked there many years. He was promoted to a floor manager, and then he demoted himself to just a cashier again. Too much stress. And I imagine a very, very small increase in pay to be the manager. Very minuscule.
Instead of paying you $1 an hour, we're giving you $1.25.
I imagine that's probably around the percentage of the raise. But you know what? At least he's making the same amount as his female coworkers. Power to you, Walgreens.
Progress.
You're a pharmacy that still sells cigarettes in most states, but power to you.
I remember I went to Texas before you could still smoke in bars. I'm like, ooh, that is a blast from the past.
When I was in Nashville last summer, and it was you couldn't smoke in every bar, but I got in wicked late, and I wasn't gonna. I just was like, all right, fuck it, I'm not going downtown to deal with bachelorette parties. So I just went to the bar that was closest to my Airbnb on like the outskirts, and it was just a classic dive, pool tables. You could buy cigarettes at the bar and smoke inside. It was like $5 a pack. Oh boy, we need to bring back smoking inside, folks.
Adds character to the building.
Yeah.
Do you remember Melrose Bowl?
Melrose, yeah, when you could bowl in Melrose, I vaguely remember.
Yeah, I remember that place used to regulate cigarettes.
It must have gone out of business when I was like 9-ish.
Yeah, it's around that time.
Yeah. There's still the Wakefield Bowlodrome. I think that's still around. I believe that was referenced on The Simpsons. It was supposed to be the Wakefield Bowlodrome that they showed on The Simpsons.
Oh, what, with the candle bowl?
Yeah. When The Simpsons ran out of ideas, they went to Boston, which I was honestly surprised that they hadn't done that yet in like 30 years.
Fun fact, though, when they during that episode, they showed legal seafoods, and my mother at the time was working
That
there.
says lawful seafood.
Oh.
I remember that. And they stayed at Jordan's Furniture and Motel.
I remember, didn't Homer work at Necco before time? In the episode, he was working at Necco Candy.
He may have. I don't remember. I watched it once. I remember there's a lot of references. Like, well, the scene where they're like supposed to be in Faneuil Hall has like a ton of little references built in and just all in the background. Which, like, I'm sure most people who work at The Simpsons have lived in Boston at some point because it's all the writers' room is Lampoon people. So that makes it even more surprising that they never once decided to have a Boston episode.
Well, think about it, they always had Mayor Quimby, which is the biggest middle finger to Ted Kennedy.
True. He was a goofball. I remember on an early episode of The Seasons, there's an episode where Sideshow Bob is like, you can't get out of here. He's like, you can't keep the Democrats out of office forever, and then I'll be free. Which I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a throwaway dialogue, or I think it may have just been more chic to be Republican in those days.
I only know that because there's like a million gifs of that. Like this one guy I follow on, he does like donation live streams, and he plays that every so often. It's just
the Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, it's infrequent enough to give you a little chuckle every time.
Yeah, I remember I saw the clip when I was like a kid and George W. Bush was president, and I like knew it wasn't considered cool to be a Republican at that time because we were in Iraq. But maybe like that was during the my latest episode of the pod, the one before this one, just got shared by the truly insane roast beef content creator Roy Stella. So I'm glad that Roy is supporting the episode and getting people to listen to it. I do believe his antics will eventually get me killed because he keeps antagonizing this other character in the roast beef community. I don't know. My Facebook is shut down, so I'm free of the drama. And it sucks because now people on Twitter are like making vague references to Facebook related comedy drama, which I'm sure I don't want to get sucked into. But now I'm like, ooh, what happened? Oh, I want to have my ear on the pulse.
We're coming at 1 hour.
We're at 1 hour. We made it, folks, in the new studio.
We did it.
And if I deem that this episode was good, you'll see it. if I deem it was bad, we'll put it on Patreon and you'll pay $5 to see it in years from now.
This super secret lost episode.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only thing I want to say is that if you have a face tattoo, or if you have gauges, or a pet rat, or one of those stupid fucking septum piercings, don't talk to me. Good night, folks.